In this video, we're going to show you how to increase your revenue and grow your brand awareness. What's going on? We're Fit Your Marketing, and welcome to another episode of If This Was My Business. What's going on, Greg?
How you doing? I'm excited to tackle this one, and I already have a few ideas from our prep call before this.
Awesome. So this is the business here, vanderrose.com, and let's jump right into the website.
Let's see. So we've got the brand, photography, gowns, magazines, events, become living art. And so AJ, go back to how do they make their money?
All right. So they make their money. It looks like they have three products or services: photography experiences, custom gowns, and a magazine. And the photography starts at $600, gowns from $500 to $1,500, and magazines $30 per month, and profit margin about 50% on average.
Okay, great. I mean, so if we go back to the website, the very first thing I would say is we have Van der Rose, the brand, photography, gowns, magazines, and events. First thing, and you probably already know what I'm going to say, this headline should say what the end result is of when people come here, right? So the example would be something along the lines of, this is telling me what you have. Let's dial in the message even more. So what are some things that you would recommend, AJ, as far as what would be a good message that's demonstrating, like, okay, if I land on this page and I'm interested in gowns, magazines, or events, how do I simply state what I'm going to get?
Yeah. So I think really what this is about is like exquisite fashion and photography, right? And the magazine is kind of like a bonus add-on. If I was thinking about it from a business perspective, right? You got photography you can sell, make $300 profit. You got gowns that you can make 250 up to 750 profit, and then you got the magazine that's this kind of underlying subscription. So I would take the focus away from the magazine and make it a tab here that people can click on and see, and make the focus more about like exquisite gowns for XYZ photography, right? So something that's like the target audience for this, and maybe I need to know a little bit more about the target audience for this, but I'm guessing it's like models or maybe brands, people like that are looking, or maybe for certain events or things like that. So I would try to focus in on what that target audience actually wants, and make that the focus of this whole hero section here up at the
Well,
top.
to kind of build on what you said too, do you see the challenge, the challenge already? You were guessing who the audience is,
Correct.
right? Which is what we don't want to do. We want to make sure the audience, we want to know who the audience is immediately,
Yep.
right? So that's the first thing. One thing that I would throw in there as well, what would make this unique. So if you want to charge higher prices or get more revenue, you have to make yourself unique, almost your own category. In my mind, I'm thinking you should be promoting a package that includes photography with gowns, right? So you get both of them together. So it's like, not only do you get your special gown, but you also are going to get photography with that, right? So we're going to take the best pictures with your custom gown, and it costs X amount of dollars. And I would get really, really good at selling that package and kind of building everything around that. That's the first thing that I would think when it comes to the packaging and the offer.
Yeah, and I would along those lines, I would try to simplify, because like if we went to a restaurant and they have hamburgers, sushi, Chinese food, and something else,
Spaghetti.
it can kind of feel like I don't really know what I'm going to get here, what the focus is. Now you can do all those things, but you should have a driver that's like the main, what's the number one reason someone's going to come to your brand, that is going to make you the most money, that has the biggest target audience, or the most dialed in target audience, and that has a great opportunity for growth, and then have everything else be like the side dishes, if that makes sense.
I agree 100%, because right now, as I look at the website, this is slightly confusing, right? If I didn't even have the sheet that you gave me,
Yep.
I wouldn't actually know what I'm looking at because
Yeah.
I would be like, is this a magazine subscription or is this a modeling agency, right? And so those are some of the things that I would suggest um, we switch around in order to have a more effective, higher converting brand. Not that the brand is not good or what they're doing is not an effective product. It's just more about clarity, simplification. How do I make it to where, remember, if you're getting complete strangers to go on your website, you got like 2 seconds to
Yep.
get them to know, is this for me or not for me?
Yep.
Right. And so simplification, I think with when it comes to the website, communicating who is this for exactly. So if I were to guess, and if it were, let's say, women who are really into custom gowns, you'd have some kind of headline of the gowns that all women, die for, right? Or can't wait to get their hands on, or whatever. But kind of something that shows right out the gate, oh, this I'm going to get a gown and a photography session combined. This is unique.
Exactly. And almost for this business specifically, maybe it's the photography that's the either the photography or like you said, the bundle where they get the gown and the photography. So that way they don't have to worry about, maybe that's what this is doing is relieving the stress of, booking a photography session and then having to go figure out where to buy the gown and all these other things. So finding a way to just consolidate your messaging and your what you're selling.
I think the next thing is let's take a look at what their call to action is and see where, because I mean, obviously what they're going to need is people to fill out some type of form, intake form to say, hey, I'm interested, right?
Yep. So there's actually no call to action, which is just like a button that has people do the thing that you want them to do, except for this play button, which I'm guessing plays the video. Let's see. Yeah, so this plays the
Yep.
video that's playing in the background. So I think that's the only call to action that I can see. Um,
Models, so they're
yeah,
promoting brand, become living art, quick links.
and then I
Okay,
see
art
this is
story.
off the screen a little bit here. Maybe it's on my computer, but
And is there a phone number or something that we could, like, if I wanted to, buy something, where do I go?
yeah. So I actually don't see any calls to action here. So I think that would be a huge thing that could be added as a call to action. What do you want people to do? You want them
What
to shop?
about what's the shop button say?
Okay, let's go to shop. Okay, so we got new gown collections and event tickets. Okay, so on the New York Fashion Week 2023. Um, okay, so this looks like different events,
Go ahead and
model
click.
registration. Okay, let's click it.
Okay, so you actually purchase off the website.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So here, I mean, here's the first thing. The first thing is making sure that the shop button, we don't have to search for it, but that it's kind of handed to us on a silver platter, right? So when someone gets to the landing page, I think we need to make the site more pronounced as far as if you like this, this is where you buy it because it looks like the actual content and the images and everything that they're doing is I mean, it looks nice, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the stuff looks nice. I think what just needs to change is it has to have a little bit more of a direct call to action where I can say, hey, I love all of this stuff. I don't want to have to search on how to buy it. I want to make it as easy as possible. So, like, having those be more pronounced as far as the shop button should be a very, very high focus.
Yeah, 100% agreed. Because there's a saying, a confused mind doesn't buy.
Yep.
And so I think simplifying, thinking like, hey, if I put this in front of a 10-year-old, and that might be a bad example nowadays because they live on cell phones. But if I put this in front of a 10-year-old 20 years ago, would they be able to,
Figure it
figure
out.
out what to do and how to navigate? And you should run everything that you have on your website through that filter in order to get a great result.
So I think, in my opinion, answering the question, if this were my business, I'd have a specialized package that combines the gowns and the photography, and then my upsells are the events and the magazine.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
excuse me, and I don't know if I said this, but the combo package is the gowns and the photography, not the magazine. And then the magazine and the events are upsells that I would build this audience on. I mean, see, so these are like high quality stuff here, right?
Absolutely.
This is high quality stuff, and I think adding an element of making it easier to buy is the key, and really just some of the wording probably has to be improved as well, right? We gotta think about, we are selling with words on this website, and I also think by adding a sales video, right, something that's a little bit more scripted on communicating who buys this, why they buy it, and how to buy it, right? And if you do it in that order, who, what, and why, you basically are showing people why they should be here, who should be here, why they should buy it, when they can buy it, where to buy it, and taking a leadership role when it comes to selling them, right? Most companies that want to increase revenue and sales, right? The key is first establishing, well, how much revenue and sales,
Yep.
and then second, having a sales system, really optimizing how they sell their stuff, right? And typically it's making more offers. Well, how do you make more offers? Well, the fastest way to make more offers is to be able to show people immediately how they can buy, right?
Yep.
That's the
Absolutely.
fastest way.
and and also another thing is letting people know what to do, so we're here and this isn't a session to tear it apart. We're just trying to give some tips and ideas on how to improve the sales and how to grow the brand. And so, like, if we're on the photography, pricing and specials, if someone wanted to book the bridal and wedding, we got to tell them exactly what to do. Like maybe a button here that says, call now, or that fills out, takes them over to a form that they can fill out. And same thing for the quinceanera. For all these things, we want to make it easy for people to take the action to go to the next step. And so I think that would, that's one small thing that would probably make a huge difference.
Absolutely. And by looking at all this stuff, I mean, like I said, it looks like the quality's there, right? And many times, I used to run into this even in the personal training space, and many times you would just, you know, if you focus so much just only on having that quality product, but you forget to promote it, right? You could have the best product ever, which in the past I've had trainers that have all these certifications that are unbelievable, but no one knew about,
Yep.
right? And so what you want to do is you have a great product. So now you want as many people, as many of the right people to know that you have this.
Agreed. And one of the things that happens that we've seen is sometimes when you're an expert in the space, your messaging can speak to other experts in the space. But if that's not who your target audience is, sometimes you have to remember back to when you were just starting or just learning, and use that type of language, that type of explanations, etc., to try to get people that are in the before state, or in the they're not at your same level, to really understand what it is, how it works, what to do, all those kind of things.
Exactly. So I think, with this website, it to be honest, it really just looks like it just needs a little rearrangement, right? So it doesn't need to be completely scrapped, but just adding that sales video, having who this is for as the immediate headline and why they should be interested, the customized package of photography with the gowns, and have everything else be the upsells, and essentially having dominating one customer segment. right? Or customer avatar. So if that's 40 to 50-year-old women who want to get a beautiful gown and take pictures with that, speak and build everything around that, right? And then own that space versus the big fear that a lot of businesses have. We've had it before as well. Is, well, if I only talk to these types of people, then I won't sell anyone else and I'll be missing out. And by doing that, you typically get worse results because your message is too diluted.
Yeah, and what'll happen is when you have a target audience, when you focus on a group of individuals that's specific, you'll attract those people, but you'll also attract people that are like those people.
Yep.
So you don't necessarily have to worry about trying to talk to everyone because by focusing in, you'll attract the right people, even if they're not even if they're not a quinceañera or they're not a wedding, maybe they have a birthday coming up, or maybe they have this or that. But by honing in on whatever it is that whoever it is you want to target, you will attract those other people because they'll be infatuated with the product and with the the marketing. Like you have gorgeous stuff on that you
Yep.
have available. So it's about getting people to understand what it is and why they should do it.
And I'm a big fan of focused effort, right?
Yep.
So doing one thing at a time, you can always stack, right? You could always add things to what you're doing, but focus, like, the focusing on the one thing, right? Who's the one audience that if I spoke to them perfectly and had them feel that my company was essentially designed and built just for them, who would that audience be?
Yep.
And one of the challenges that I find when speaking with owners and asking them that question is they want to give you 5 or 6 or 7 different types of people versus who are the same. What are you noticing that, like, let's just say you only have 10 customers, right?
Yeah.
I guarantee you they're not 10 totally separate different people.
Yeah.
There's probably 5 or 6 in there that fit a specific type of customer. And that if you just focused on them, you could expand it and expand it much easier, more cost effectively, and they will have a better experience with you because they're your people, right? But typically when I ask a business owner what is the one type of person who is buying your stuff over and over again, there's almost a reluctance to say, oh, most of them do this, right? Because they're still having that mentality of, well, if we try to narrow it too much, I won't get anything, which is like the furthest thing from the truth.
Yeah. And one of the things you can do to do that is decide who you don't want, right? So sometimes, for example, you might really enjoy working with like normal everyday people that have life events, and so maybe you don't want the models, or maybe you don't want et cetera. So also trying to eliminate people will help you hone in. If you have a hard time focusing on one segment, try the opposite, the elimination effect.
Yeah, I think the elimination effect is smart too because it's something that is counterintuitive, right? Because if you're thinking I want more customers, the last thing you're thinking is how do I eliminate or discriminate customers, right?
Yeah.
But it's counterintuitive because it does work because at the end of the day, a simple formula to get more customers is to speak to the perfect customer,
Yep.
right?
Absolutely.
That's like the simple hack. Speak to the perfect customer, and you will get more customers. And if you
Absolutely.
just trust that that will work and give it a try, you will notice a big difference as far as conversion rates, how much easier it is to make your marketing. Because what AJ, you hear this too, right? Where you speak with clients and they're like, I'm not really sure what to say, or like
Yep.
what to say next, or what should I say? Well, that's because you're unclear of who you're even talking to.
Yep.
If you're clear with who you're talking to, it's much easier. If you're like, I'm going to speak to a room full of kindergartners,
Yep.
right? Well, I'm not going to speak in you know, college voice and college education. I'm going to speak to little kids and speak
Exactly.
their language. And then, well, what would a little kid want to hear? Well, they're probably not interested in calculus or algebra. They probably just want to know what's the newest show on YouTube, right?
Yep.
So understanding the who you're talking to and really getting focused will make your marketing easier. You'll be able to create the messages easier, and you'll actually know what to say.
Yeah. And the other thing too is most, we've said this before, but most people read at like a 5th to 7th grade reading level. And so you want to, even though you're niched and you're in a certain market and you have all these certain terms, you want to still speak simplifying your language, unless you're selling something to like engineers or doctors or something like that. Simplifying your language always increases conversions.
Yes, always. As much as we want to sound smart and sophisticated and logically, that almost would make sense, right? Like the more sophisticated I sound, the more they will think that I'm the expert or I know what I'm doing. But it's actually false. It's
Yep.
actually the simpler you make it sound, the more they'll be like, "Wow, you must know what you're doing because you're making that sound so easy."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's like the how you identify a master is someone who can take something complex and make it really simple.
And then this leave the sophistication talks to the wine and dining of your other peers and people that you would like to impress
Yep.
are not your actual customer, but just people in the business space. Leave sophistication for that. But when it comes to actual customers and helping them and serving them, simplify, simplify, simplify.
Yep. Yep. And then the one other thing I think maybe we could talk about for a minute or two is the sales process. So, we're selling, gowns that are, $500 plus. We're selling photography that's 300 or that's $600 plus. So I'm guessing that most people, if they're not already like, if they haven't done business with you in the past, or they don't already know you, or they weren't a referral, they're probably not going to come right to your site and buy right away. So what would you recommend as a sales process for a company like this?
Yeah, I mean, you should obviously you should do a book a call funnel, get them to talk to you, right? And by getting them to actually talk to you, then you would have your sales pitch, right? Which I always recommend you use a 3-step sales process. 1, information gathering, 2, demonstration, 3, close, right? And if you use that, you will see, because people will spend more if they can talk to someone,
Yeah,
right? So
absolutely.
if you want to sell more and have higher prices and be able to get people to buy the whole package, get on the phone with them. And it doesn't have to be 2-3 hour phone calls, right? I mean, these can be 15, 20 minutes, because what people are really doing is they just want to get a feel.
Yep.
uh, who am I working with? Is this a real company? And does this sound good? Because it is scary to say, hey, I'm going to invest $600, $2,000 without talking to anyone on an internet site that I don't know, right?
Absolutely.
I'm not on TonyRobbins.com or someone that everyone knows. I'm on a website that I have no idea if this is even real,
Correct. And
right?
unfortunately, there are a lot of scams out there. That's just the reality of the world that we live in. So, yeah, I completely agree with you. Is implement a sales funnel where you get on the call and then you get a chance to information gather, demonstrate, and present the offer. So,
So if we simplify this, right? Put a form on your website that gets their name, phone number, email.
yeah,
Then, once you have that information, text message them to try to get them on a phone call. And then once they're on the phone call, you use a 3-step sales process: information gathering, demonstration, close. And that's your funnel right there. In the simplest form, that's it.
yep,
And
I
then
agree more.
all you have to do is send more traffic, whether that's paid ads or organic by posting on social media and things of that nature. And then it becomes a numbers game. How many people do I need to get to see this form to get them to fill it out and then talk to me?
Yep,
And that's it. And if you just do that, so 2 steps, get them to fill out the form, master the 3-step sales process, you're golden.
yep. There we go. That's it. Anything else you would add for this brand?
I think that's it. I think simplification is key, and make it easier for people to buy.
I love it. I'm 100% on board. So we'll send this over to you. And if you'd like to have your business featured, we got a link down below. You can click on that link and sign up, and we'll go through. We'll put together a strategy like this for your brand, and you know, you'll have a free strategy session that sometimes we charge a couple $1,000s for.
So with that being said, I think thank you for watching. If you have questions, feel free to visit our website and book a call. You'll talk with one of us here, most likely AJ, and we'll take good care of you. So thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Talk to you guys on the next one later.